The auction. The underground market stretched beneath the city like a diseased vein, pulsing with illegal commerce and desperate souls. Neon tubes flickered overhead, casting sickly blue light on hundreds of faces, some human, most not. The air tasted of rust and fear. Kira stood on the auction platform, her purple skin gleaming under the harsh lights. Her hands were bound with energy cuffs that hummed softly, sending occasional jolts through her wrists. She kept her chin up despite the terror clawing at her chest. Around her, buyers circled like scavengers, their eyes calculating her worth. "Fresh from the outer colonies," the dealer announced, his voice cutting through the crowd's murmur. Vex was a tall human with cybernetic implants running along his jaw, making his smile look like a weapon. Purple skin, rare genetic markers, and completely untrained, which means she's yours to mold however you see fit. The crowd pressed closer, and Kira felt their stares like physical touches. She'd been captured 3 weeks ago during a raid on her settlement. Everything she knew, her family, her home, her future, had been stripped away in a single night. "Starting bid at 5,000 credits, Vex declared, raising his hand. Numbers flew through the air, buyers shouting over each other. Kira's heart hammered against her ribs. She knew what happened to girls like her in markets like this. The stories whispered through the holding cells were nightmares made real. 20,000, a voice called from the back, deep and steady. The crowd went silent, heads turning to locate the speaker. A man pushed through the masses, tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair and eyes that seemed to absorb the light around them. He wore a long coat that had seen better days, and there was something about the way he moved that made even the most dangerous buyers step aside. "Well, well," Vex's smile widened. "Marcus, I didn't expect to see you at this particular auction. 20,000 is generous, but surely she's worth more to someone with your reputation." 30,000. Marcus said, his gaze fixed on Kira. "Final offer." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. That kind of money could buy weapons, ships, or information worth starting wars over. Kira stared at this Marcus, trying to understand what he saw when he looked at her. "Sold," Vex declared, but his expression held an edge of malice. "Though I should mention the terms, Marcus. This one comes with a special contract. You have 30 days to complete a mission of my choosing. If she fails or refuses, you get your money back, minus her, of course. She goes to the highest secondary bidder." Marcus's jaw tightened, but he nodded. "What's the mission?" "Infiltrate the Zenith Corporation facility in Sector 9 and retrieve a data core from their secure vault. The security there has killed better thieves than you. If she can't handle it, well, I have plenty of other buyers interested in purple skin." The crowd laughed, some with genuine amusement, others with dark anticipation. Kira felt sick. She was being traded like cargo. Her life depended on completing an impossible task for a stranger. Marcus approached the platform, and Vex deactivated her cuffs with a small remote. The energy field dissolved, leaving red marks on her wrists. Marcus reached out slowly, offering his hand. "My name is Marcus," he said quietly, his voice different from before, softer, with an undercurrent of something she couldn't identify. "I know you're scared, I know this isn't what you chose, but I'm giving you a choice now. Come with me, help me complete this mission, and I promise you'll walk away free. No cuffs, no owners, no markets, just freedom." Kira looked at his extended hand, then at his face. His eyes held pain, old and deep, but also determination. Around them, the market watched with hungry anticipation, waiting to see if she would trust him or run. "Why should I believe you?" she whispered, her voice hoarse from days of silence. "Because I know what it's like to be trapped, and because I need someone who wants their freedom as badly as I need to finish this. We help each other, or we both lose everything." Behind them, Vex chuckled. "How touching. You have 30 days, Marcus. The clock starts now." Kira took a breath, feeling the weight of every eye in the market on her shoulders. Then she placed her hand in Marcus's. His grip was firm and warm, somehow steadying. "I'll do it," she said, meeting his gaze. "But if you're lying, I'll make sure you regret buying me." A ghost of a smile crossed Marcus's face. "Fair enough," He turned to Vex. "We'll need supplies and access codes." "Already prepared." Vex tossed him a data chip. "Everything you need to know about Zenith's security, though I doubt it'll be enough. See you in 30 days, Marcus. Or not." Marcus led Kira through the crowd, his hand on her elbow, guiding, not controlling. The market parted for them, and she could feel the weight of failed expectations and dark curiosity following their steps. As they emerged into the narrow access tunnel that led away from the market, Kira glanced back once. The neon lights seemed dimmer now, the crowd already moving on to the next sale, the next tragedy. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Somewhere safe," Marcus replied. "We have a lot of work to do, and not much time to do it." "And if I fail this mission?" He looked at her, and for the first time, she saw something like respect in his expression. "Then we fail together," he said, "but I don't plan on failing." They walked into the darkness of the tunnel, leaving the market behind. Kira's heart still raced, but now it was different. Now there was something besides fear driving it forward. A fragile, dangerous thing called hope.
The training. The safe house was hidden 3 levels below the city's industrial district, accessible only through a series of unmarked corridors that twisted like a maze. Marcus led Kira through the final security door, and she found herself in a surprisingly spacious room filled with weapons, tech equipment, and training mats. "Home sweet home," a woman's voice called from the corner. She emerged from behind a stack of supply crates, lean and athletic, with short red hair and sharp green eyes. "So, this is the girl you spent 30,000 credits on." "Kira, this is Jenna," Marcus said, removing his coat. "She's my partner and the best tech specialist in the underground. Jenna, meet Kira." Jenna circled Kira slowly, her gaze analytical. "Purple skin? Definitely stands out. How much combat training does she have?" "None," Kira said, before Marcus could answer. "But I learn fast." "She'll have to," Jenna replied, pulling up a holographic display. "Zenith Corporation doesn't mess around. Their facility has military-grade security, biometric scanners, armed guards, and an AI system that learns from intrusion attempts. We have 27 days to turn you into someone who can walk through all of that without getting killed." Kira's stomach tightened, but she nodded. "Then we should start now." Marcus smiled slightly. "I like her attitude." He gestured to the training area. "First, we see what you can do. Jenna, set up the basic combat simulation." The next hours blurred together in a haze of movement and pain. Jenna programmed holographic opponents that attacked with relentless precision. Kira dodged, stumbled, fell, and forced herself back up. Her purple skin was soon marked with bruises, and her muscles screamed in protest. "Your center of gravity is too high," Marcus said, demonstrating a defensive stance. "Lower, like this. Use your opponent's momentum against them." He moved close, adjusting her posture with his hands on her shoulders and hips. Kira felt a flush of heat that had nothing to do with exertion. His touch was professional but lingering, and when their eyes met, something unspoken passed between them. "Try again," he said softly, stepping back. This time, when the holographic opponent lunged, Kira dropped low and swept its legs. The simulation flickered and reset. Jenna whistled from her station. "Not bad. Your reflexes are better than most humans. Must be the alien physiology." They trained for 6 days straight, pausing only for brief rest periods. Kira learned to fight, to pick locks, to bypass security systems, and to move through spaces like a shadow. Marcus pushed her hard, but he was always there to catch her when she fell, to correct her mistakes with patience instead of anger. On the 7th night, Kira found Marcus alone in the training area. He was practicing with a combat knife, his movements fluid and precise. She watched from the doorway, noticing the scars on his forearms, the way his muscles tensed and released with practiced efficiency. "Can't sleep?" he asked without turning around. "Too much adrenaline," she admitted, stepping into the room. "How did you learn to fight like that?" Marcus lowered the knife, his expression distant. "He used to work for people like Vex. Did things I'm not proud of. Hurt people who probably didn't deserve it. Then someone I cared about got caught in the crossfire." Her name was Elena. She died because I couldn't protect her from the same people who employed me." She moved closer, drawn by the raw honesty in his voice. "Is that why you're doing this mission?" "Partly." Marcus met her gaze. "The data in that vault contains information about trafficking routes and corrupt officials. If we expose it, we can shut down operations across 3 sectors, save people like you from ending up on auction blocks. And maybe I can finally make something right." Her breath caught at his touch. The air between them felt charged, electric. "You saved me," she whispered. "No," he said, his thumb brushing her purple skin. "You saved yourself by choosing to trust me. I just gave you an option." They stood like that for a long moment, the rest of the world fading away. Then Jenna's voice crackled over the intercom. "Sorry to interrupt whatever's happening down there, but we have a problem. I just intercepted a message from Vex. He sold information about our mission to Zenith's head of security. They know we're coming." Marcus pulled away from Kira, his expression hardening into something cold and focused. "When?" "He sent it 2 hours ago," Jenna replied. "They'll be reinforcing the facility by morning." Kira felt panic rising in her chest. "What do we do?" Marcus turned to her, and she saw the soldier behind the man, calculating, dangerous, determined. "We accelerate the timeline. We go in tonight." "Tonight?" Kira's voice cracked. "But I'm not ready." He took her hands in his grip firm and steady. "Yes, you are," he said with absolute certainty. "I've trained hundreds of operatives, and you've learned more in 7 days than most learn in months. You're fast, you're smart, and you're driven by something more powerful than fear." He squeezed her hands gently. "You're driven by the need to be free." Jenna appeared in the doorway, carrying equipment bags. "I've updated the infiltration plan." She tossed a bag to Marcus. "The service entrance is our best bet. Kira can use her biometrics to bypass the alien detection scanners. They won't be calibrated for her specific genetic markers." Marcus nodded, then looked at Kira. "Last chance to back out," he said. "If we do this, there's no guarantee we all make it out alive." Kira thought about the auction block, about Vex's cruel smile, about all the others still trapped in that underground hell. She thought about Elena, a woman she'd never met, but who had clearly meant everything to Marcus. And she thought about the fragile connection growing between her and this complicated, damaged man who had chosen to see her more than property. "I'm not backing out," she said firmly. "Let's finish this." Marcus smiled, a real smile this time, full of warmth and pride. "Then let's go steal some data and burn down an empire." They spent the next hour gearing up. Jenna fitted Kira with a stealth suit that adapted to her purple skin, shifting colors to blend with shadows. Marcus checked weapons and uploaded facility schematics to their neural links. As they prepared to leave, Marcus pulled Kira aside one last time. "Whatever happens in there," he said quietly, "stay close to me. Trust your training, trust your instincts." He hesitated, then added, "And trust that I won't let anything happen to you." "I trust you," Kira said, and realized with surprise that she meant it completely. He leaned down and pressed his forehead to hers, a gesture of solidarity and something deeper. "Then let's show them what freedom looks like." They left the safe house together, 3 shadows moving through the city's underbelly, heading toward a facility that held secrets, danger, and the key to their survival. The night air was cold against Kira's skin, but she felt alive, truly alive for the first time since her capture. Behind them, the safe house's lights flickered off, and the city swallowed them whole.
The infiltration. The Zenith Corporation facility loomed against the night sky like a steel fortress. Its walls were smooth and featureless, designed to repel both physical and electronic intrusion. Security drones circled overhead, their red scanning lights cutting through the darkness like predatory eyes. Kira crouched beside Marcus in the shadows of a delivery truck, her heart hammering so hard she was sure the guards could hear it. Jenna's voice came through their earpieces, calm and focused. "Security rotation changes in 90 seconds, Jenna said from her remote location. "The service entrance will have a 7-second window when the cameras reset. That's your opening." Marcus checked his weapon one last time, then looked at Kira. "Remember the plan," he whispered. "We go in as maintenance workers. You use your biometrics to get us past the alien scanners, then we move fast and quiet to sub-level 3. Kira nodded, adjusting the fake maintenance badge clipped to her suit. The stealth fabric had shifted to match the facility's standard gray uniform, and her purple skin was partially concealed by a hood, but her hands still trembled slightly. Marcus noticed and covered her hand with his. "Hey," he said softly, "you've got this. I believe in you." His touch steadied her, the warmth of his palm against hers anchoring her to the moment. "Together," she whispered. "Together," he confirmed. 30 seconds, Jenna's voice cut in. "Moving in 3, 2, 1, go." They sprinted across the open ground, their footsteps silent on the concrete. The service entrance door loomed ahead, and Kira's fingers flew across the access panel, bypassing the basic security with techniques Jenna had drilled into her. The door hissed open, and they slipped inside just as the cameras came back online. "Clean entry," Jenna confirmed. "You're in the maintenance corridor. Head left and take the 3rd elevator down." The corridor was dimly lit and smelled of disinfectant and machine oil. Their footsteps echoed softly as they moved. Kira's senses felt heightened, every shadow a potential threat, every sound a warning. They reached the elevator without incident, but as the doors opened, 2 guards stepped out. Both were heavily armed, and their eyes widened in surprise. "What are you doing in this sector?" the first guard demanded, his hand moving toward his weapon. Marcus didn't hesitate. He moved with brutal efficiency, disarming the first guard and slamming him against the wall. Kira reacted on instinct, sweeping the second guard's legs and delivering a precise strike to her neck that Jenna had taught her. Both guards dropped unconscious. "Nice work," Marcus said, dragging the bodies into a storage closet. "Your training's paying off." They entered the elevator, and Kira pressed her hand against the biometric scanner. Her alien genetic signature confused the system for a moment, then it beeped acceptance and began descending. "Sub-level 3 in 10 seconds, Jenna reported. "But we have a problem. There's an unscheduled patrol heading your way, heavy armor, led by someone named Drex." Marcus cursed under his breath. Drex is Zenith's chief of security, former military, enhanced reflexes, completely ruthless. If he's here, Vex definitely warned them. The elevator stopped, and the doors opened to a corridor lined with reinforced walls and security checkpoints. Red emergency lights pulsed overhead, and an alarm began to wail. "They know we're here," Kira said, her voice tight with fear. "Run!" Marcus grabbed her hand, and they sprinted down the corridor. Behind them, heavy footsteps thundered. Drex's voice boomed over the facility speakers. "Intruders on sub-level 3. All units converge. Lethal force authorized." They rounded a corner and nearly collided with a security door that was sliding shut. Marcus threw himself forward, jamming his boot in the gap. The door's hydraulics whined, grinding against his foot. "Go," he shouted to Kira. "I'll hold it." "Not without you," she shot back, squeezing through the narrow opening. Marcus followed, and the door slammed shut behind them with a metallic boom. They found themselves in a storage room filled with equipment crates and ventilation shafts. The sound of pursuit grew louder. "In here," Marcus pulled Kira behind a stack of crates, just as the door exploded inward. Drex entered, a massive figure in tactical armor. His face was scarred, and his eyes glowed with cybernetic enhancements. He carried a plasma rifle that hummed with lethal energy. "I know you're here," Drex called out, his voice echoing through the facility. "Masters Marcus, the traitor who thinks he can play hero, and the purple girl from the market, he's going to enjoy getting her back." Kira pressed against Marcus, her breathing shallow. She could feel his heart racing against her back, his body tense and ready. They were trapped, with nowhere to run. Drex fired randomly into the crates, plasma bolts tearing through metal and sending sparks flying. One blast cut dangerously close, and Marcus pulled Kira tighter against him, shielding her with his body. "The vault is 2 corridors away," he whispered directly into her ear. "When I create a distraction, you run, you get that data, and you get out." "No," she whispered back fiercely. "We do this together or not at all." Their eyes met in the dim light, and something shifted between them. Marcus's hand came up to cup her face, his thumb tracing the curve of her purple cheek. "You're the bravest person I've ever met," he said softly. "You're the first person who ever saw me as more than property," she replied. The moment stretched, and then Marcus leaned in, pressing his lips to hers. The kiss was desperate and tender, filled with all the fear and hope and connection they'd built over the past week. Kira responded, her hands gripping his shoulders, pouring everything she felt into that single moment.
Drex's footsteps grew closer, and they broke apart, both breathing hard. "I have a plan," Marcus said, "but you have to trust me. Always," Kira whispered. He smiled, then stood up suddenly, drawing Drex's fire. "Over here, you armored bastard!" Marcus ran towards a ventilation shaft. Drex swung his weapon around, unleashing a barrage of plasma fire. Marcus dove and rolled, leading the attack away from Kira. She used the distraction to slip between the crates, moving toward the far exit. "Jenna," she whispered into her comms, "I need the route to the vault." "Sending it now." Jenna's voice was tense. "But Kira, Marcus's vitals are spiking. He's taking too much damage." Kira's heart clenched, but she forced herself to keep moving. She reached the exit and glanced back. Marcus was pinned down, bleeding from a graze on his shoulder. Drex was advancing, victory in his cold smile. She had to make a choice, complete the mission or save Marcus. There was no choice at all. Kira grabbed a piece of broken metal from the floor and threw it with all her strength. It struck Drex's helmet, cracking the visor. He turned, surprised, and in that moment, Marcus fired his weapon, hitting Drex's rifle and causing it to explode. The blast threw Drex backward, and Marcus scrambled to his feet. "I told you to run," he gasped, "and I told you we'd do this together," Kira said, helping him up. They ran together, leaving Drex cursing behind them. The vault entrance appeared ahead, a massive door with alien symbols and biometric locks. "Your turn," Marcus said, clutching his injured shoulder. Kira approached the scanner, pressing her palm against the cool surface. The system analyzed her genetic markers, confused by her unique alien biology. For a terrible moment, nothing happened. Then the door hissed open, revealing a chamber of data cores glowing with blue light. "We're in," Kira breathed. Behind them, alarms screamed and footsteps thundered closer. They had minutes at best to grab the data and escape. Marcus moved to the central console, while Kira stood guard. She could hear Drex rallying reinforcements, hear the facility going into full lockdown. "Got it," Marcus said, pulling a data core free. "Now we run!" They burst from the vault, racing back through corridors that seemed to twist and multiply. Plasma fire chased them, and the building itself seemed determined to trap them. But they moved as one, anticipating each other's movements, covering each other's backs. Two people bound by trust and something deeper, fighting for freedom against impossible odds.
The betrayal. They crashed through the perimeter fence, gasping for air. The facility's alarms wailed behind them like angry sirens. Kira's nigs burned, but she pushed forward, supporting Marcus, whose shoulder wound was bleeding through his suit. "The extraction point is 2 blocks east," Marcus said through gritted teeth. "Jenna should be waiting with the transport." They stumbled into an abandoned warehouse where a vehicle sat idling, its lights off. Jenna emerged from the shadows, but her expression was wrong, cold and calculating instead of relieved. "Jenna, thank God!" Marcus moved toward her. "We need to get out of here now. Drex is right behind us." "I know," Jenna said quietly, raising a weapon. "That's the plan." Marcus froze, his face draining of color. "What are you doing?" "What I was paid to do," Jenna replied. "Vex offered me triple what you could ever pay. All I had to do was make sure you got the data, then deliver both you and the girl back to him." She smiled without warmth. "Nothing personal, Marcus, just business." Kira felt rage flood through her, burning away the exhaustion. "You betrayed us!" "I gave you a chance at glory before your inevitable return to the market," Jenna shrugged. "Consider it a kindness." Behind them, vehicles roared into the warehouse. Vex stepped out, flanked by armed guards. Drex emerged from another entrance, his armor scorched but his weapon ready. "Excellent work, Jenna," Vex said smoothly. "Marcus, I'm impressed you made it this far. Unfortunately, the girl failed to complete the mission in my terms, which means she comes back with me. And you, well, you're a loose end." Marcus stepped in front of Kira, his body shielding hers despite his injury. "You'll have to go through me first." "Gladly." Drex raised his weapon. But Kira had spent 7 days learning to fight, learning to survive. She grabbed a metal pipe from the floor and swung it at Jenna. The impact sent Jenna's weapon flying. Chaos erupted as guards opened fire. Marcus engaged Drex in brutal close combat, their movements deadly and precise. Kira fought with everything she'd learned, dodging, striking, refusing to be captured again.
Drex landed a devastating blow to Marcus's injured shoulder, and he dropped to his knees. Kira screamed, throwing herself at the larger man. Her purple fists connected with his face, fueled by desperation and fury. "You don't own me," she shouted, each word punctuated by a strike. "Nobody owns me." Drex stumbled, surprised by her ferocity. Kira grabbed his weapon and fired, hitting the fuel cells on the guards' vehicles. Explosions rocked the warehouse, creating chaos and smoke. She pulled Marcus to his feet. "Can you run?" "With you. Always," he gasped. They fled through a back exit as the warehouse burned, Kira's curses and Vex's rage following them into the night. They ran until their legs gave out, collapsing in an alley far from the chaos. Marcus pulled her close, his forehead pressed to hers. "You saved my life." "You saved mine first," she whispered. "We're even." Their lips met, desperate and passionate. The kiss deepened as adrenaline transformed into something more intense. His hands traced her purple skin with reverence, and she pressed against him, needing to feel alive, needing to feel connected. "Kira," he breathed against her mouth. "Don't talk," she said, kissing him again. "Just be here with me." They held each other as sirens wailed in the distance, two broken people finding comfort and hope in each other's arms. The data core pressed between them, a reminder of what they'd fought for. "We need to finish this," Marcus said, finally. "Expose Vex and everyone working with him." Kira nodded, her resolve hardening. "Then let's end it. Together." The choice. Dawn broke over the city as Kira and Marcus reached a secure communication hub. Marcus's contact, a journalist named Rivera, met him with recording equipment and legal protection. "This data," Rivera said, scanning the core, "contains evidence of trafficking operations across 12 sectors, including government officials and corporate executives." She looked at Kira. "Your genetic signature is in here too. Records of your capture and sale." Kira's hands trembled. "My people." "Hundreds of them," Rivera confirmed gently. "All documented, all traceable. This could shut down the entire network." Marcus squeezed her shoulder. "We can finally make this right." But before they could transmit the data, Vex's voice crackled over the emergency channel. "Marcus, I know you're there. I have your safe house surrounded. Surrender the data and the girl, or everyone inside dies." Marcus's face went pale. "He's bluffing." "Am I?" Vex laughed, was cold. "You have 10 minutes to decide." Kira looked at the data core, then at Marcus. An idea formed, dangerous, but possible. "What if we give him what he wants?" "Never," Marcus said fiercely. "Not me. The data. But we broadcast it first. Send it to every news outlet, every government agency, everywhere at once. By the time he gets the core, the information is already public." Rivera grinned. "That could work, but transmission takes 8 minutes. You'd have to stall him." "I'll go," Marcus said immediately. "No," Kira grabbed his arm. "He wants me. I'm the leverage. You stay and make sure the transmission completes." She touched his face gently. "Trust me." His eyes filled with anguish. "I can't lose you." "You won't," she promised, kissing him softly. "I'm not the scared girl from the auction anymore. You taught me to fight. Now let me finish this." Marcus held her tight. "When this is over." "When this is over," she whispered, "we start our lives. Really start them. Free." She left before he could argue, making her way to the meeting point Vex had designated. The dealer stood with armed guards, Jenna beside him, looking bitter and defeated. "The purple prize returns," Vex smiled. "Where's Marcus?" "Getting your data," Kira said calmly. "But I have conditions." Vex laughed. "You have no leverage." "Don't I?" she replied. "In 7 minutes, that data broadcasts everywhere. Your empire burns, your clients get exposed, your freedom ends, unless you let me bargain." He considered, greed warring with suspicion. "And you?" "I go back to the market. That's what you want, isn't it?" Before Vex could answer, every screen in the district lit up simultaneously. News broadcasts, emergency alerts, public displays, all showing the same thing. The trafficking data, names, faces, crimes, all exposed. Vex's face turned purple with rage. "You lied." She smiled. "I learned from the best." Police vehicles surrounded the area. Rivera's connections ensured law enforcement arrived in force. Vex and his guards tried to flee, but there was nowhere to run. The evidence was everywhere, undeniable and damning. Marcus appeared, weapon drawn. "It's over, Vex. You lose." Drex emerged from another entrance. "Not yet," he snarled, grabbing Kira. But she was ready. Using every technique Marcus taught her, she twisted free and delivered a strike that dropped Drex to his knees. "I told you, nobody owns me." Police arrested Vex, Jenna, Drex, and dozens of others as the sun rose fully over the city. Marcus pulled Kira into his arms, holding her like she was the most precious thing in the world. "You did it," he said. "You're free." "We did it," she corrected. "Together." Rivera approached with documents. "Kira, your people are being located and released. The government is offering reparations and full citizenship. You can go home." Kira looked at the papers, then at Marcus. Home suddenly meant something different now. "What will you do?" she asked him. "Whatever you want," Marcus said softly. "Wherever you go, I go. If you'll have me." She smiled, her purple skin glowing in the morning light. "I think I'd like to stay. Build something new. Help others like me." She touched his face. "With you." He kissed her deeply, and the city around them seemed to celebrate. The nightmare was over, and freedom tasted like hope. 3 months later, Kira and Marcus ran a sanctuary for rescued trafficking victims. Their love had grown from desperate survival into something steady and real. She still had nightmares about the auction block, but Marcus was always there to hold her until they faded. On a quiet evening, they stood on their balcony watching the city lights. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked. "Spending 30,000 credits on me?" Marcus pulled her close. "Best investment I ever made," he said, kissing her forehead. "You gave me a reason to be better, to fight for something that matters. You gave me freedom," she whispered, "and love. I never expected love." "Neither did I," he admitted. "But here we are." "Here we are," she agreed, and kissed him as the city around them hummed, alive and free and theirs. The end.